What's the mistake of the leadership of the APC in all of this?
They chose a candidate and was trying to make sure that that candidate was what they wanted, without thinking that some other thing will happen, and that's what they should have learned from this. And that's exactly what has happened here.
But Mr. Akwede, you do know that the scenarios in what has happened is different in terms of what we've seen in the first sitting of both chambers. Yesterday, you did say that the House of Reps, it would seem they've moved on. What do you think is responsible for that?
Well, in terms of numbers, the House of Representatives, it's always been more aggressive, more progressive. The Senate is generally more conservative, fewer and older. So obviously, the House realized that this has happened. They've lost on a fair and square elections. The bad blood has been generated here. Perhaps they're thinking, if all of us were present, we would have changed the tide. But really speaking, if you look at the numbers in the elections, nothing will have changed. Whether everybody was present, the numbers is indicative of the fact that he will have won still. But you know that feeling that I didn't have the chance to fight is still lingering on their underbelly, and so they feel bad about it. But having said this, the reality check and the reality of the situation is that he would have won.
Let's look at the future for the party. The party has said they will go ahead to sanction some of these people. What do you think will emanate from such action from the party?
Wrong move. If they do that, they will drive the party into oblivion. Obviously, you need to know when it's not the best time to call a shot. If you're not sitting on the driver's seat, then you need to be careful about the mental sanction of people who, as it were, you can't really control. You give them sanctions. It doesn't stop him from being Senate president. If you sanction me as my party, I'm a member of my party as Senate president, what are you telling me? Go the other way. And if that other way is willing to be welcome, he will go move the other way. Then who loses? The party loses.
Well, how easy is it going to be for him to go the other way? Because we've seen in the papers that, look, the Senate president has said, I am a member of the APC. So he seems to be affirming that perhaps all of those who may be having some sort of thought that he will be pushed or jumped to another party, perhaps he's suggesting here they should perish the thought, don't you think?
Still early days. What did you expect him to say? My member of the PDP? Certainly not. He won on the platform of the APC. It's too early in the day. But what will happen is this. If you start antagonizing him and you make APC uncomfortable for him, he will have no choice. Don't give him that choice to move on.
Then there's a question. You know, you did say that, I think Chamberlain asked you that question about quorum, and some of your colleagues disagree. I think we spoke with another senior advocate, and he said that you still needed more than that quorum, that the quorum only applied to the business of the day, not for the business of electing the Senate president. After all, the Senate was yet to be, was yet to fully be inaugurated as at that time.
Mark, but when things like this happen, people come up with all sorts of schemes as to what will suit their case. Now, why should the quorum for the business of the everyday in the Senate be different from that of inaugurating the Senate? I have not heard any rules cited on where they come from this. Perhaps when we see the rules, we'll be able to look at it, articulate on it, and see what it says. As it stands right now, what is being banned is that you needed a 1/3 to start the Senate, and more than 38 members were present, and this happened. Now, let's assume, let's peradventure, they had a greater quorum, and we got 2/3 members. Will you have changed the voting pattern? I think what people need to look on constantly is look underneath and see what would the results have been. You see, we have this concept of sole leadership in Nigeria, and sooner we'll start thinking that once you lose and not bicker about it, then you think of how to progress. The man won with 57 senators.
We're getting to see something like a leadership crisis in our politics now. Do you think this is part of the change that Nigerians are likely to see in the days to come, that a political party will ask that a particular politician or members of that party toe the line of the party, and when they see that, well, they have a leeway in the Constitution, they will take that route?
Change comes in different directions. When things do not happen against the natural run of the mill, there's a change. The natural run of the mill will have been having the same candidates, both the president of Senate and the deputy being from the same party. That's the natural run of the mill. So in itself, this is a change in itself. Now, is this good for democracy? Yes. Because the party really can, as it were, take a line that members think they can run against and win on it, like it's happened right now, and they won't make an attempt. You see, it's all about self-preservation. If I do think I have a chance to win an election, and my party is telling me otherwise, then it means that my party is wrong, they're not thinking through it. And if I truly go out and win, then my party needs to think how popular they are in the scheme of things. And this is what this has brought out.
So you think that what transpired is change. What else do you see changing in the course of the day?
What I see changing is that, and which is good for democracy, is that people will start speaking their minds, as it were. People will not generally toe party lines. And the supremacy of the party is now very much in doubt. And it didn't start happening today. If you remember, under the last 7th Assembly, a lot of things happened like that. The parties took land, PDP took land, which the party members did not serve. If you remember, the measures of Tambo was very similar to this. So truly speaking, this is not new in our politics. This is history being revisited. And if you remember, all the gladiators now, all the people who took part in that debacle, as it were, at that time on the 7th Assembly, they're now the losers on this, because really speaking, what they did then has now come home to meet them.
You know, you did say that at the end of the day, you must always have the results at the bottom, you know, at the back of our minds. But the question is, are you sure that the results would have been the same? Perhaps not just for not for the Senate President. What about the Deputy Senate President? After all, for that one, there was an election. And the results were not exactly the same thing for the Senate President, were they?
Well, again, also, it's all matter of conjecture now. Perhaps not. But you see, what has happened is this. What you must find very curious, if you look even in the Senate, a couple of other appointments, if you look at the Senate leader also, it went in the direction of the opposition, but that would not normally have happened. Now, if all the parties have been present, if all the candidates have been made, perhaps we will have a different deputy Senate president. But mind you, this is a coalition arrangement. What you also need to understand is that the 51 members will not have voted one way, the members that were absent. Because if you see all the press conferences that have been given, the numbers that are just in the conference in support of the APC position is more dwindled from the 51. So you never can tell. It's not that cast in stone. This is not like cutting wood where you're sure where it goes, like breaking glass. You never know where it will shatter to. So truly speaking, it's all now a matter of conjecture. But the bottom line is this. The most important seat there is that of the Senate President. It is clear to me and to all that watch this process, if the entire House had been complete, if the Senate was complete, the elections would have gone the same way it went, perhaps even with more numbers in his favor.
You know, at the moment, yes, we've got a Senate President, but this other group, Unity Forum, led by Senator Gamade, have said they will go to court to challenge some of these things. So if and when they go to court, do you see them perhaps when they get to the Senate, whatever is transpiring on the floor, they won't see the Senate President as one of theirs? Can they possibly just work against him, even affecting the bills?
Well, I would like to believe that if the bills were popular, because we're all seeing the debates on the bills, and they debate them through the public forum. If the bills were very popular and you start debating against the bills strictly on party lines, then obviously your Senate seat has to be, we need to think about it. Now, if they go to court, what will they achieve in court? The best they get in charge that the rules are not followed, go do the elections again. If the elections were done today, it's obvious the same results will be the same. Saraki will be Senate President. Even perhaps with more numbers. Now, so you need to ask yourself, is this fight worth it? And you see, Nigerians are becoming very in temperament with this. We have challenging problems. There's no power, there's no life, our schools are failing, hospitals are failing. Those are the issues we expect you to debate now. The elections are over. You must govern. You must stop this party politics. Sooner or later, even if they don't realize it, it might dwindle their fortunes. Mind you, we now realize we can get change. The sitting president was ousted. So truly speaking, who knows tomorrow? If you don't know when to call it quits, and you still stay sore and keep continuing this process, perhaps it's the time that, who knows, it might not be up to 4 years before we see things happening.
The way it's going, do you see another political party emerging?
That is a very strong possibility, because truly speaking, if the parties who are playing a major role in this now realize they can't go call back to the PDP, and the APC becomes too strong, too antagonistic towards them, perhaps, who knows? I see that as a possibility.
Would that also possibly emerge in the form of maybe the PDP rebranding itself, maybe changing their name and then merging with some other parties?
I don't see that as a likelihood. I see maybe a more hybrid party bringing people from the PDP who have similar likes with those who are in the APC who have similar minds, and actually who have in a third party. And indeed, that would be good for democracy.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Daffy Akpede, Senior Advocate of Nigeria.
Always my pleasure, Chamberlain.
Yeah, so there you go. Different perspectives on what's going on now. But keep your comments coming through. We'll appreciate all of them. But we'll have one more matter to focus on today on the program, so stay with us.